The alien ship was shaking. Smoke filled the long metal hallways. Alarms were ringing. Red lights flashed again and again. The last group of alien soldiers was standing near the engine room. Their bodies were shaking, weapons in hand. They were scared. They had never seen war like this. They had never seen fear like this. One of them whispered, "They're not humans. They're monsters." The captain, a tall alien with blue skin and deep scars on his face, tried to keep them calm. "We are warriors," he said. "We will not fall to animals from a small planet." But even he didn't believe his own words. Not anymore. Mason was already inside the engine room. His body was covered in burns and blood, but none of it stopped him. His eyes were cold and focused. Behind him, 4 other humans followed. They had no armor, just stolen weapons and rage in their hearts. Mason looked around the engine room and said, "We take control here, no matter what." The humans nodded. They moved like shadows, fast and silent. They had learned the ship's design. They had studied the aliens' habits. Now it was time to finish it. The aliens entered the engine room with loud steps. They pointed their weapons in every direction, but they couldn't see anyone. Just machines, steam, blinking lights. One alien shouted, "Where are they?" Another one stepped forward and suddenly screamed. A wire wrapped around his leg and pulled him into the dark. The others fired their weapons, but they hit only metal. Mason jumped down from above and shot 2 aliens before they could turn around. His team moved fast. Bullets, blades, and fire mixed with the sound of alien screams. The alien captain fought back hard. He was strong. He hit one of the humans with full force, throwing him across the room. But even as the human fell, he pulled a grenade from his pocket and threw it at the aliens. The explosion was loud and bright. When the smoke cleared, only Mason and the captain were standing. Mason's team was either down or too weak to fight. The captain pointed a glowing blue blade at Mason and said, "You will die now, human." Mason didn't speak. He walked forward slowly. The captain attacked, fast and wild. Mason dodged, but the blade cut his shoulder. He didn't stop. He grabbed a metal pipe and hit the captain in the side. The alien roared and stabbed again. Mason caught the blade with his hand. Blood poured down his fingers, but he didn't stop. He looked the captain in the eyes and whispered, "You should have left us alone." Then he slammed the pipe into the captain's head, again and again, until the alien fell to the floor, not moving. Breathing heavy, Mason stood in silence. The engine room was covered in blood and smoke. His friends were hurt but alive. He walked to the control panel and looked at the stars outside the ship. A planet was near. The alien homeworld. He pressed a button and spoke into the ship's main speaker. "This ship is under human control. To the alien homeworld, we are coming, and we are not peaceful." Somewhere in deep space, a small warning signal escaped from the ship. It was broken and weak, but it carried one final message. A recording of the alien captain's last voice message. In it, he was screaming in terror. "Do not capture humans. Do not bring them here. They are not what we thought. They are not weak. They are monsters. Please, do not make them angry." The message traveled far into the stars, reaching the ears of other alien species. Some laughed, some ignored it, but others remembered the name of Earth, and they remembered the screaming. The alien ship was in chaos. After the first human escape, nothing felt normal anymore. Guards were nervous. Lights flickered in the hallways. The control room was filled with sounds of alarms and confused voices. The captain of the ship, a tall alien with long arms and 4 sharp eyes, stood in the center of the room. He looked at the screen showing the prison cell. The door was broken. Blood was on the floor, but there was no sign of the humans. They were gone. Just gone. "How is this possible?" the captain shouted. No one answered. The security team looked afraid. One of them said, "We checked the cameras, sir, but the recordings are missing." Another guard added, "They were taken by surprise." The humans moved fast. Too fast. The captain growled. "They are weak animals. This should not happen." But deep inside, even he felt something was wrong. These humans were not acting like normal prisoners. Far away, deep inside the ship's lower levels, Mason and his group were moving through the dark. They stayed quiet. They knew the ship now. Every corner, every camera. They had been watching for weeks, planning. Mason led the way, his face calm but serious. Behind him were 5 others, strong, focused, trained. Not one of them was scared. Mason turned to them and said in a low voice, "They think we are weak. That's our weapon." As they moved through the shadows, they found an old maintenance room. It was dusty and unused. "We stay here for now," Mason said. "We learn more. We strike again when they're not ready." The others nodded. One of the women, Sarah, asked, "Do we have time?" Mason looked at her and replied, "They're already afraid. That's how we win." Back in the control room, the captain ordered the guards to search every hallway. Find the humans. Bring them back dead or alive. The guards moved in groups, weapons ready, but their hands were shaking. They entered each dark tunnel slowly, checking every door. But the humans were never there. Sometimes a guard would hear a sound behind him, a whisper, a footstep, and when he turned around, no one was there. One night, 2 guards were patrolling near the engine rooms. The lights above them started to blink. One of them said, "I don't like this." The other laughed nervously. "They're just humans." Then they heard it, a low sound, like breathing. They turned around but saw nothing. A second later, the first guard screamed. His voice echoed through the ship. When others came running, they found only 1 guard left. He was shaking, unable to speak. The other one had vanished. Only blood was left behind. The captain stared at the report. His fingers tapped the metal desk. "This is not normal. Humans don't do this," he whispered. One of his officers said, "Sir, what if they are trained?" "Soldiers, maybe." The captain paused. He remembered something. A report from the Earth War. A group of elite human fighters had disappeared. No one found their bodies. No one knew where they went. He looked back at the screen. Could it be them? Mason and his team listened to the guards' voices through the stolen radio. They smiled as they heard the fear. "They're hunting us now," Sarah said. Mason replied, "Good. Let them come." Another human, Jordan, asked, "When do we hit them again?" Mason answered, "Soon. But next time, we don't just disappear. Next time, we leave a message." Later that night, another guard went missing. This time, the humans left something behind. A small mark on the wall. A red handprint, made from blood. Under it were the words, "We are not your prey. We are your punishment." The message reached the captain. He stared at it silent. Around him, his officers looked pale. No one wanted to speak. Fear was spreading fast. Some guards refused to go into dark hallways alone. Some begged to be moved to other ships. The captain had lost control. He slammed his fist on the desk and shouted, "Enough. We will crush them." But it was already too late. The humans were inside the ship's mind now. They moved like ghosts. They attacked when no one expected. They vanished before anyone could fight back. Fear had become their weapon. And Mason had only just begun. The alien ship felt cold now. Not because of the temperature, but because of fear. The halls were quiet. Too quiet. Guards walked in pairs, weapons always ready, eyes looking in every direction. They no longer laughed. They no longer talked. Everyone felt like something was watching them. The humans were still loose somewhere inside the ship. And every day, another alien went missing. The captain ordered more patrols. He told his officers to search every room, every tunnel. But they found nothing. No humans, no weapons, just silence and sometimes blood. One guard disappeared near the food storage area. Another one vanished from the control hall. No one ever saw it happen. They were there one moment, gone the next. All that was left was a scream on the radio, and then silence. Mason was watching everything. He and his team were hiding deep in the air tunnels. They had stolen a map of the ship. They used the tunnels to move quietly, watching the guards from above. "They're breaking," Mason whispered. "Their minds are cracking before their weapons do." Sarah smiled. "I saw one shaking just from a sound." Jordan said, "We haven't even used real attacks yet." Mason replied, "Then it's time." That night, they made their first move. Mason crawled through a vent above the engine room. He dropped a small device inside, a signal jammer. It didn't make noise. It didn't explode. But it made every camera in the room go dark. A few minutes later, a guard walked in. His radio started buzzing. The lights flickered. Then he heard footsteps behind him. When the others found him later, he was lying on the floor, alive but shaking. His eyes were wide, and he couldn't speak. He had clawed at the wall like he was trying to escape something only he could see. The alien captain slammed his hand on the desk. "This is not a war. This is horror," he shouted. One of the officers said, "They're not fighting us with weapons. They're fighting us with fear." Another added, "They move like ghosts. They attack when we're weak, and they leave no trace." The captain pointed at the map of the ship. "They must be hiding in the lower tunnels. Seal them off. Fill them with gas if you have to. End this." But when they sent gas into the lower levels, the humans were already gone. They had moved to another part of the ship. Mason knew what they would try. He was always one step ahead. "They're guessing now," he told his team. "They've lost control." The humans used the ship's broken vents to send whispers into the guards' radios. Sometimes they played recordings of the missing aliens screaming. Other times, they just breathed into the mic, slowly, deeply, like something hunting. Guards stopped going on patrols alone. They refused to enter dark areas. Some started hearing things, footsteps, voices, tapping on the walls. But there was nothing there. They were losing their minds. One alien shot at a shadow. Another locked himself in a storage room and wouldn't come out. Fear was spreading like a virus. Then the humans struck again. This time, 2 guards were pulled into the darkness near the communication room. One of them was found with a message carved into his armor. "You are not the hunters. You are the hunted." The other was never found. The captain held an emergency meeting. "We cannot continue like this," he said. "If they want war, we give them war." But his voice had lost its power. The guards no longer believed in his strength. Some were already planning to escape in small ships. Others just sat in silence, holding their weapons and shaking. Meanwhile, Mason looked at the ship's blueprint. "Next target, the armory," he said. "We take their weapons. We take their strength." His team nodded. They were tired, hurt, but stronger than ever. They had become something more than soldiers. They were fear itself. As they moved toward the armory, the ship lights flickered again. A deep sound echoed through the halls. The guards turned their heads, hearts pounding. It was the sound of boots, slow, steady, getting closer. But no one was there, just shadows. And then a scream. The alien ship was no longer quiet. Now it shook with the sound of footsteps, gunfire, and alarms. The humans had taken the armory. They were no longer hiding. They were hunting. The guards who tried to stop them were met with fast attacks, smart traps, and deadly skill. Mason led his team through the ship like a wave of destruction. He didn't speak much. He didn't need to. The look in his eyes told everyone what they had become, the nightmare the aliens never expected. It started with a surprise attack. 3 guards were standing near the armory door, talking about escape. Suddenly, gas leaked from the vent above them. They coughed, dropped their weapons, and then the humans struck. Mason jumped down first, followed by Jordan and Sarah. It was fast. quiet, clean. In less than 30 seconds, all 3 aliens were down. The door to the armory opened. The humans stepped inside and found everything they needed. Energy rifles, grenades, shock blades. Their hands moved fast. They loaded up. It was time for war. The alien captain stared at the camera feed. His own soldiers were running. Some begged for help. Others locked themselves in rooms. The humans weren't just fighting. They were winning. And they were enjoying it. "This is not possible," the captain said. His voice was shaky. His second in command, a smaller alien with green skin, replied, "They have the armory. And they have no fear." The captain growled, "Then we fight with all we have. Block every exit. Seal the ship. We stop them here." But it was too late. Mason had already planned the next move. He sent Jordan to the power systems. Sarah and another human, Blake, went to the lower deck to cut the air supply to half the ship. The aliens were strong, but they needed clean air to think clearly. Soon, half the guards were dizzy, coughing, unable to shoot straight. The humans attacked again. Quick, brutal, and silent. One alien team tried to trap Mason's group near the engine room. They set up walls, blocked doors, and waited. But Mason knew. He used the vents again. Came from behind. The aliens never had a chance. Grenades rolled across the floor. A flash of light. A scream. Then silence. When the other guards came, they only found shadows and blood. Sarah found the communication room. She smiled and said, "Let's send them a message." She turned on the ship-wide speaker. Mason stepped up to the mic. His voice was calm, clear, and cold. "This ship is under human control. If you're smart, run. If you stay, you scream." Then he turned off the mic. Across the ship, aliens dropped their weapons. Some tried to escape in small shuttles, but Mason had already locked them down. The humans had control of the doors. No one was getting out. The captain slammed his fist on the control desk. "Enough of this," he shouted. "We fight now. All units to the engine room. I'll lead the attack myself." He put on his armor, grabbed his blade, and marched out with his last group of soldiers. Around him were the strongest fighters left on the ship, but even they looked nervous. The lights were still flickering. The walls still echoed with strange sounds. One of the guards whispered, "They're waiting for us." Mason was waiting. He stood near the engine room doors with his team. Weapons ready, faces hard. Sarah looked at him and asked, "This is it?" Mason nodded. "Let's finish this." The aliens came around the corner, weapons drawn. There was no talking, no warning. The fight exploded in seconds. Shots fired. Blades clashed. Sparks flew. Mason fought the captain face to face. The alien was fast, but Mason was faster. They moved through the smoke and fire, striking again and again. The captain hit Mason with his blade, cutting his arm. But Mason didn't stop. He hit back with full power, knocking the alien off balance. Around them, the humans fought like machines. Every alien that stepped forward was taken down. Sarah moved like lightning, covering Mason's side. Jordan used stolen alien tech to block their attacks. Blake tossed smoke bombs to hide their movement. It was chaos. It was war. It was human rage unleashed. The alien captain saw his soldiers fall one by one. His eyes filled with fear. This wasn't just a fight anymore. This was the end. He turned to run, but Mason grabbed him, pulled him down, and held his blade to the alien's neck. Mason didn't speak. He didn't need to. The look in his eyes was enough. The captain screamed, and the scream echoed through the ship, loud, sharp, and full of terror. The scream echoed through every hallway of the ship. It was long, full of fear, and it froze every alien where they stood. Those who were hiding stopped breathing. Those who were still fighting dropped their weapons. It was the captain's voice, and it was filled with something they had never heard in him before: pure terror. Mason stood over the captain's body, breathing hard. The fight had been brutal, but now it was over. Blood covered the floor. Smoke filled the air. Behind Mason, Sarah and Jordan checked the halls. No more enemies were coming. The ship was silent now. Broken and beaten. They had done it. They had taken control. Sarah walked over to Mason. "Is it done?" she asked. Mason nodded slowly. "It's done." He looked around the engine room, now filled with fallen aliens. No more running. No more hiding. They thought we were harmless. They thought we were weak. He turned to the others. They were wrong. Across the ship, the last of the alien crew tried to escape. They sent messages to nearby fleets, begging for help. But it was too late. The humans had taken control of communications. Every message was blocked. Every call for help went silent. No one was coming. And even if they did, would they want to face what waited here? Jordan started the ship's main computer. He typed fast, locking every door and cutting power to alien-controlled zones. "We own this ship now," he said. Blake laughed a little. "From prisoners to kings." Sarah smiled, but her eyes were cold. "No, not kings. Survivors. Monsters. Whatever they made us into." They moved through the ship slowly, checking every room. Some aliens were still alive, hiding, crying. The humans didn't speak. They didn't need to. The aliens backed away, hands up, shaking with fear. Mason looked at one of them and said, "Tell the others what happened here. Tell them Earth is not weak." The human team gathered in the control room. The screens were theirs now. The cameras showed empty halls, flickering lights and bodies. Sarah looked at the stars outside. "Where do we go now?" she asked. Mason stood in front of the main control panel. "We go home," he said, "and we take this ship with us." Jordan activated the ship's engines. Slowly, the large alien ship turned away from its path and headed toward Earth. A ship once used for capturing and controlling humans was now under human command. It was the first time in history that humans had taken an alien warship, and they had done it not with numbers, not with powerful weapons, but with fear, anger, and the will to survive. As the ship moved through space, Mason sat in silence, looking at the stars. He remembered the day they were taken, the pain, the cages, the way the aliens laughed. And now, it was their turn to scream. He didn't smile. He didn't feel joy. He only felt cold. Sarah sat beside him. "Do you think they'll come for us again?" she asked. Mason didn't answer right away. Then he said, "If they do, we'll be ready. We won't be caught again. We're not just soldiers anymore. We're something else now." The crew was silent for a long time. No one knew what the future would bring. But one thing was clear. The galaxy would remember this day. The day a few humans, thought to be weak and broken, rose up and made their enemies scream. And far behind them, floating in silence, was a message they had left on the ship's wall. Written in alien blood, it said, "We were the prey. Now we are the storm."